neutrality issue, and this is a huge issue. Ajit Pai, the former Verizon lawyer, is now the head of the Federal Communications Commission. This is what happens when Trump puts people from industry in charge of regulating industry. Former Verizon lawyer Ajit Pai wants to destroy net neutrality. Net neutrality says basically the government can't mess with who you're watching on the internet as long as it's not illegal content. The government can't mess with it, they can't speed up or slow down sites, and corporations can't mess with what you're looking at on the internet. They can't speed up or slow down sites or block access to sites that the corporations don't like or that the corporations think are not as profitable as sites that they may own. And Ajit Pai is going to change it so that going forward, you know, say you've got Comcast cable. Well, Comcast owns NBC and MSNBC. So you might get MSNBC and NBC at a really, really high speed. Great programming. You know, hey, that looks marvelous on my big screen TV at home that I'm now cord cutting, you know, taking off the internet. But if I try to watch CNN or Fox News, it's hiccuping and it takes a long time to connect and the resolution is pixelated, and or I can't even find the site if I'm trying to go to a site called, you know, Comcast Sucks or .com or something like that. You know, I can't even find the site. What's going on? This is what Ajit Pai wants to set up. This is what the FCC, this is the direction they're trying to go. And somebody called in and said they already do that in Portugal. And I was like, what? I've never heard of this. So he gave me a link, and I checked out the link, and the link linked back to another story, an original story by Michael J. Coran at quartz.com. And this was titled, "Without Net Neutrality in Portugal, Mobile Internet is Bundled Like a Cable Package." And this is, we're damn close to this here in the United States. But in Portugal and in Spain, they're not doing this with internet per se. In other words, they haven't come to this point yet. But they do it with mobile services. And you know, the mock-up, you know, what he was describing to me on the air was actually that mock-up of internet plans from 2014, which I was referring, you know, and I said, you know, we used that graphic before where your basic telco is $29.95 a month. And, oh, you want YouTube and Hulu and Netflix? That's an extra $10 a month. Oh, you want Google, Yahoo, Flickr, Blogger, Bing? That's an extra $5 a month. Oh, you want the BBC, the India Times, and, you know, Al Jazeera? That's an extra $5 a month. Oh, you want CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News? That's an extra $5 a month, the news channels. You want e-commerce? You want to access Amazon? You want to go to PayPal? You want to go to eBay? Overstock.com? That's an extra $5 a month. You can have that package. You want to stream music? You want to play Napster or Pandora or Rhapsody or Last.fm? That's an extra $10 a month. And, you know, the one they don't have on here that I always include, because it's such a big business on the internet, even though nobody ever talks about it, is, oh, you want porn? That's an extra $20 a month. I mean, whatever it may be, this is how it works. So what's happened is in Portugal, they're actually doing this sort of a thing with mobile plans, but the way they do it is tying it to specific apps. So if you have the app on your cell phone in Portugal, well, this is the specific thing. Consider Spain and Portugal. Lisbon-based telecommunications firm MEO has been rolling out mobile packages that provide users with add-on data plans limited to specific applications. It does not block content, but using data for apps outside the package would ultimately cost more relative to those in preferred packages. Not clear if companies paid to be included in the packages. Gee, you think? So this is, you know, the various packages that you can buy. Okay, so I'm going to put the Netflix app on my phone, and I get faster access to Netflix in Portugal. Well, this is what Ajit Pai wants to do here in the United States, but not just for mobile phones. See, I'm guessing in Portugal and Spain that mobile phones operate under a different set of rules and regulations with regard to the data streams that they're sending down than computers that are connected to the internet. Certainly that's the case to some extent, and to a small extent, but it's there here in the United States. Louise and I were driving home last night. We were talking to our son he was on his cell phone. We were on Louise's cell phone, and Louise had yesterday painted a picture of our dog Blue. She's a really good artist, and she wanted to text it to our son. And so she, sent it and said, what do you think? And he was like, okay, I'm all out of my data plan this month. And so it's going to come through very, very slow. So it takes like a half hour to load a picture that you got texted. Now that's just speeding up and slowing down. But wait until that gets applied not to, hey, I ran through my data plan, but instead to, oh, your internet service provider basically saying to you, oh, you wanted to watch video on YouTube? Well, that's going to cost extra. This is the direction it's going. But anyhow, I wanted to share that with you just to clarify. It makes me crazy when information comes out of this program that isn't complete and comprehensive and true and defendable, and so I just wanted to nail that down. Brian Fung in today's Washington Post: federal regulators unveiled a plan today that would give internet providers broad powers to determine what websites and online services their customers can use and see. Now just think about that for a minute. Do you really want Verizon, AT&T, and Comcast, depending on which one you have, or T-Mobile or Sprint, do you really want them to determine which websites you may visit? Or how well or fast they load? Do you really want them to determine whether or not you can run a website? Whether people can access your website at a reasonable speed? I don't. I defend capitalism from time to time on this program, although I've regulated capitalism, but this is beyond the pale. The internet is part of our information commons. It's also part of our communication commons. And as such, it should be considered a utility. It should be, I have no problem with companies providing us with the internet for a profit, just like any utility. I'm not saying they can't make money. What I am saying is that they shouldn't be able to expand their profits, which are considerable. These are companies that are making billions of dollars a year, to expand their profits by diminishing what we can do on the internet. I think this is just wrong. So Ajit Pai says, oh, all we're going to do is prevent the government from micromanaging the internet. His phrase, micromanaging the internet. That is complete BS. The government is not micromanaging the internet, never has micromanaged the internet, and that's what net neutrality is all about, is that there will be no micromanaging of the internet, not by government and not by corporations. The internet is open and free. That's what net neutrality means. Everybody has an equal shot. If you just invented a new product, if you just invented a new website, you just came up with a brilliant new idea, you put it on the internet, everybody on earth, well, except in China and in other countries that censor the internet, that do to the internet for political purposes what Ajit Pai, the former Verizon lawyer who now runs the FCC, wants to do so that Verizon can make more profit. And that would be by blocking your access to websites owned by, say, Verizon's competitors, or slowing you down, or speeding up their own content, or going to pretty much everybody on earth, say ThomHartmann.com, who's got a website, and we've got a very active and vigorous website, and saying, oh, you want people to be able to see your website in real time? That's going to cost you an extra $20,000 a year. And, maybe our website could deal with that. I think it would be a hell of a challenge. But I can tell you a lot couldn't. An awful lot couldn't. This is the brave new world, and we've got to get active about this. You need to be calling your members of Congress right now and saying, say yes to net neutrality and no to the FCC.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Ajit Pai represents a clear and present danger to free and open public political discourse, in my humble opinion.